They're there when you need them, even if you wish they weren't. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 TV neighbors. For this list, we're looking at those TV neighbors who stood out for their quirkiness, their sage advice, or simply because they were always there.
Penny! Penny! Penny!
Hey, Sheldon.
It's hard to imagine getting that close to the people who live adjacent to you, but in TV, it's almost strange if you don't know your neighbors on a personal level.
Who made a spatula out of toothpicks and woodchuck?
I did.
Who's a big yellow cube with holes?
I am.
Who's ready?
I'm ready.
Who's ready?
I'm ready.
Who's ready?
I'm ready.
Number 10, Glenn Quagmire, Family Guy.
Hey, who wants to play Drink the Beer?
Right here.
You win.
All right, what do I win?
Another beer.
It's pretty cool that Peter's best friends all live near him, and Quagmire is no exception.
Hey, it's the Griffins. What can I do for you?
But having Quagmire as your friend and neighbor means you might be subjected to some of his more interesting habits. Like going through your trash in search of your wife's toenail clippings.
A couple of teeth and some toenail clippings and we'll be ready for our date.
Knowing you're living next to a sexual deviant means not being surprised when he comes to the door in a bib and bonnet.
Quagmire, you gotta help us. We pissed off a bunch of ghosts and now our house is gone and we got no place to stay.
Peter, this is not the best time.
Number 9, Ed and Trixie Norton, the Honeymooners. They're not just the upstairs neighbors, they're the best friends of the show's main characters.
That might work. Certainly it'll work.
Lovable but simple Ed and pushy Trixie are a couple that run somewhat counter to Ralph's bluster and Alice's even temper.
Being locked up with Trixie for 3 days is more than I can stand.
The dynamic between the two couples and the friendships developed between them is a part of what made this short-lived show so iconic.
I'll forgive you, pal. Shake it, pal. Okay. Hey, go ahead and get Trixie. We'll spend the night down here. Okay, Ralph. Thanks, pal. You're a sweet kid, too.
Number 8, Penny, The Big Bang Theory.
When you understand the laws of physics, Penny, anything is possible.
It may have been initially easy to dismiss Penny's character as another ditzy blonde waitress.
How about a molecular sieve?
I've got a spaghetti strainer in the kitchen.
But she's a great testament to the fact that technical knowledge isn't all there is to life.
Thank you so much for your stupid advice.
She might not be as well educated as her brainiac neighbors, but she's socially adept and provides them with much needed balance.
Oh, honey, the buses don't go where you live, do they?
It also doesn't hurt that she ends up dating Leonard, since we all know that dating a neighbor is always a smart move.
Do they have a name for a first date with someone you used to go out with?
Oh, that's a good question. How about awkward?
Number 7, Rhoda Morgenstern, The Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Mary, are you sure this looks okay? I feel so fat.
Yeah, it looks fine.
Witty, sarcastic, and self-deprecating, she's the gal pal most single ladies and single fellas wish they could have around.
Mary, I thought you knew. Your parties are disasters.
As Mary's upstairs neighbor, she's never too far away for some girl time.
You know, Mary, if your operation goes well, I'm thinking of having 11 pounds of fat removed surgically.
That is, until she falls in love and moves away to New York. But even then, Rhoda was such a good friend to Mary, she actually got her own spin-off.
Allow me to introduce myself. I'm another person in the room. Rhoda Morgenstern.
Oh, how would I know? How do you do?
And this is my date, Mr. and Mrs. Almond.
Number 6, Mr. George Feeny, Boy Meets World.
You know you got a principal living next door?
It's not something we brag about.
We can't think of anyone who'd want to live next to their teacher. Unless, of course, you're spying on their movements or trying to swipe some test scores or something.
Good morning, Mr. Turner. Obviously, I was wrong, and your students were so prepared that they managed to finish the test 2 minutes after the bell has rung.
However, things are different when it comes to teacher-turned-principal-turned-college professor, Mr. Feeny.
I'm going to try to put this as kindly as possible. The show has turned into a circus.
While some of us may have grown up with teachers who played important roles in our lives.
Ooh, ramifications. Nice word, Jughead.
It's still difficult to imagine living next door to them. It's like breaking the fourth wall or something.
Ah, Mr. Matthews. The eyes of Philadelphia are upon you tonight.
Number 5. Barney Rubble, The Flintstones.
Barney! Hiya, Fred. Neighbor, pal. What are you supposed to be doing besides annoying me on my day off?
Simple, affable, and easygoing, Barney was the perfect foil to Fred's boisterous personality.
I'm ready, Freddy. I'll be right with you.
Make it snappy. I don't want to miss my coffee break.
He was also a pretty reliable neighbor, and a bud Fred could always go bowling with.
Keep your eye on the ball, Barney boy.
Yahoo!
It's a plus when your best friend lives next door, but it's a +1 when your wives become best friends as well.
Let's face it, Wilma, we need new hairstyles. Let's go down to the beauty parlor.
The relationship between the Flintstones and the neighboring Rubbles is one that has become iconic in pop culture and has stood the test of time.
Looks like the boys made up, Wilma.
In a big way.
Oh, let's go, Barney buddy. Right with you, Freddy boy.
Number 4. Steve Urkel, Family Matters.
Hey, Buster. Keep flirting and you'll be hurting.
Yeah, right.
It's odd how often he invited himself over to the Winslow house. You'd think with big guy Carl Winslow being a police officer and all, they'd have a more secure house. But clearly this was one nerdy neighbor that could not be stopped. He's a pest, but he's also a lovable nerd who's hopelessly in love with Laura Winslow.
Now sweat, my pet.
Ultimately, Urkel is begrudgingly embraced as a recurring presence in the Winslow household for whatever reason, in spite of his klutziness.
Have you ever gone a single day in your entire life without destroying something?
Huh. Doesn't the womb count?
It must be those glasses.
I never thought I'd be so glad to hear such an annoying sound.
Well, that's not very nice. Oh, but I forgive you.
Number 3. Wilson Jr., Home Improvement.
Hey, Wilson.
Hi, Tim.
I'm gonna rewire that dishwasher. Do you still have that compressor for sale?
No. Traded that for a set of snow tires and an accordion.
He was an excellent neighbor, replete with worldly wisdom and the kind of advice you can only give after traveling the globe.
Men need to spend more time around the campfire with their elders, like in ancient days, seeking wisdom, telling stories, sharing.
And interestingly enough, we only ever get to see half of his face. The Taylor family, and Tim in particular, could pretty much always count on Wilson to provide them with sound guidance from behind a privacy fence.
As the English author Samuel Johnson said, our brightest blazes of gladness are commonly kindled by unexpected sparks.
Well, if anyone knows about unexpected sparks, it'd be me.
He kept his distance, but always came through in the clutch. That's pretty much the ideal neighbor if we do say so ourselves.
Wilson, are you naked?
No, Tim, I'm wearing a hat.
Number 2. Ned Flanders, The Simpsons.
Flanders! You're the devil?
It's always the one you least suspect.
He's a mild-mannered religious zealot who is constantly put upon by the Simpson family. Not that he minds.
Say your prayers, Simpson. Because the schools can't force you like they should.
That isn't to say he doesn't have his own problems. What with his wife's unexpected death, his extremely sheltered children, and his obsessive religious posturing. Although initially disliked by Homer for his straight-edge personality and happy-go-lucky demeanor.
Once a man is in your home, anything you do to him is nice and legal.
Is that so? Oh, Flanders, won't you join me in my kitchen?
Mr. Simpson eventually warms up to Flanders, with their relationship evolving over time.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
Good night, Monkey Man.
Go, SpongeBob!
Hi there, Eric. Mr. Pinciati.
Are you praying, Mr. Wilson?
Oh, good heavens, Dennis, can't you not?
Come here, your mom's downstairs.
Said you were supposed to be home a half hour ago.
Uh-oh, that's the third time today. She's gonna kill me. Don't panic. Just set your watch back a half hour. I love the way your mind works.
Number 1. Cosmo Kramer, Seinfeld.
Oh, all right, good dog, all right.
He really likes
you, George.
You could pretty much count on him for a couple of things: busting through Jerry's front door and not having a verifiable source of income.
You know, I almost wound up going to that game.
Yeah, you almost went to the game. You haven't been out of the building in 10 years.
Although he's definitely prone to scheming. But somehow, none of that stopped him from being one of Jerry's closest friends.
Hey, Jerry, I'm going to Walden Book.
Get out! Get out! I don't want to live like this!
It might be because living across the hall gave him constant access to Jerry's life. But one has to wonder why no one locked their doors.
I'm out.
Do you agree with our list? Which TV neighbor do you wish lived next door? For more entertaining top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
Gosh, I never had entertained kids before.